Hello everyone, this is Sumit Bose and I'm from the Bodhi Academy. Today we are going to discuss on the chapter Tribes, Nomads and Settled Communities. So without any further delay, let's start. You saw in chapters 2, 3 and 4 how kingdoms rose and fell. Even as this was happening, new arts, crafts and production activities flourished in towns and villages. Over the centuries, important political, social and economic developments had taken place, but social change was not the same everywhere because different kinds of societies evolved differently. It is important to understand how and why this happened. In large parts of the subcontinent, society was already divided according to the rules or varna. These rules, as prescribed by the Brahmins, were accepted by the rulers of large kingdoms. The difference between high and low and between rich and poor increased. Under Delhi Sultans and the Mughals, the hierarchy between social class grew further. Beyond big cities, tribal societies, there were, however, other kinds of societies as well. Many societies in the subcontinent did not follow the social rules and rituals prescribed by the Brahmins, nor were they divided into numerous unequal classes. Such societies are often called tribes. Members of each tribe were united by kinship bonds. Many tribes obtained their livelihood from agriculture. Others were hunter-gatherers or herders. Most often, they combined these activities to make full use of the natural resource of the area in which they lived. Some tribes are nomadic and move from one place to another. A tribal group controlled land and pastures jointly and divided these among households according to its own rules. Many large tribes thrived in different parts of the subcontinent. They usually lived in forests, hills, deserts, and places difficult to reach. Sometimes they clashed with the more powerful caste-based societies. In various ways, the tribes retained their freedom and preserved their separate culture. But the caste-based and tribal societies also depend on each other for their diverse needs. This relationship of conflict and dependence gradually caused both societies to change. Who were tribal people? This is important. Contemporary historians and travelers give very scanty information about tribes. A few exceptions apart, tribal people did not keep written records. But they preserved rich customs and oral traditions. These were passed down to each new generation. Present day historians have started using such oral traditions to write tribal histories. Tribal people were found in almost every region of the subcontinent. The area and influence of a tribe varied at different points of time. Some powerful tribes controlled large territories. In Punjab, the Khokar tribe was very influential during the 13th and 14th centuries. Later, the Gafras became more important. Their chief Kamal Khan Kakhar was made a noble by Emperor Akbar. In Multan and Sindh, the Langhas and Abrahams dominated extensive regions. Where they subdued by the Mughals. The Balochis were another large and powerful tribe in the northwest. They were divided into smaller clans under different chiefs. So each clan had a chief. Large tribes were divided into different clans, and each clan had their own separate chief. In the western Himalaya lived the shepherd tribe of Gaddis. The distant northeastern part of the subcontinent too was entirely dominated by tribes who were this, the Nagas, the Ahoms, and many others. In many areas of present-day Bihar and Jharkhand, Chero chiefdoms had emerged by the 12th century. Raja Man Singh, Akbar's famous general, attacked and defeated Cheros in 1591. A large amount of booty was taken from them, but they were not entirely subdued. Under Aurangzeb, Mughal forces captured many Chero fortresses and subjugated the tribe. The Mundas and Santals were among the other important tribes that lived in the region and also in Orissa and Bengal. The Maharashtra highlands and Karnataka were the home of Kolis, Birats, and numerous others. Kolis also lived in many areas of Gujarat. Further south, there were large tribal population of Kuragas, Vitras, Maravars, and many others. The large tribe of Bhils was spread across western and central India. By the late 16th century, many of them had become settled agriculturists and some even zamindars. Many Bhil clans, nevertheless, remained hunter-gatherers. The Gonds were found in great numbers across the present-day states of Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, and Andhra Pradesh. How nomads and mobile people lived. Nomadic pastoralists moved from one over long distance with their animals. They lived on milk and other pastoral products. They also exchanged wool, ghee, etc. with settled agricultures for grain, cloth, utensils, and other products. So this is important. They bought and sold these goods and moved from one place to another, transporting them on their animals. The Banjaras were the most important trader nomads. Their caravan was called Tanda. Sultan Alauddin Khilji used Banjaras to transport grain to the city markets. Emperor Jahangir wrote his memoirs that the Banjaras carried grain on their bullocks from different areas and sold it in towns. They transported food grain of the Mughal army during military campaigns. With a large army, there could be 1 lakh bullocks carrying grain. Many pastoral tribes reared and sold animals such as cattle and horses. The prosperous people. Different castes of pretty peddlers also traveled from village to village. They made and sold wires such as ropes, reeds, straw matting, and coarse sacks. Some mendicants acted as wandering merchants. There were castes of entertainers who performed in different towns and villages for their livelihood. Changing society, new castes and hierarchies. As the economy and the needs of society grew, people with new skills were required. Smaller castes or jatis emerged within varnas. For example, new caste appeared amongst the Brahmins. On the other hand, many tribes and social groups were taken into caste-based society and given the status of jatis. Specialized artisans, smiths, carpenters, and mansions who were also recognized as separate jatis by the Brahmins. Jatis rather than varna became the basis of organizing society. Among the Kshatriyas, new Rajput clans became powerful by the 11th and 12th centuries. They belong to different lineages such as Hunas, Chandelas, Chalukyas, and others. Some of these too had been tribes earlier, and many of these clans came to be regarded as Rajputs. They gradually replaced the older rulers, especially in agricultural areas. Here developed a society where it was emerging, and rulers used their wealth to create powerful states. The rise of Rajput clans to the position of rulers set an example for the tribal people to follow. Gradually, with the support of Brahmanas, many tribes became a part of caste system, but only the leading tribal families could join the ruling class. A large majority joined the lower jatis or caste society. On the other hand, many dominant tribes of Punjab, Sindh, and northwest frontier had adopted Islam quite early. They continued to reject the caste system. The unequal social order prescribed the orthodox Hinduism was not widely accepted in these areas. The emergence of state is closely related to social change among tribal people. Two examples of this important part of our history as described below. The Gonds. The Gonds lived in a vast forested region called Gondwana or country inhabited by Gonds. They practiced shifting cultivation. The large Gond tribe was further divided into smaller clans. Each clan had its own Raja or Rai. About the time the power of the Delhi Sultans were declining, a few large Gond kingdoms were beginning to dominate the smaller Gond chiefs. The Akbarnama is a history of Akbar's region mentions Gond kingdom or Garha Katanga that had 70,000 villages. The administrative system of these kingdoms was becoming centralized. The king was divided into ghars. Each ghar was controlled by a particular Gond clan. This was further divided into units of 84 villages called Chaurasi. The Chaurasi was subdivided into barhots, which made up of 12 each. The emergence of large states changed the nature of Gond society. Their basically equal society gradually got divided into an unequal social class. Brahmins received land grants from the Gond Rajas and became more influential. The Gond chiefs now wished to be recognized as Rajputs, so Amandas, the Gond Raja of Garha Katanga, assumed the title of Sangram Shah. His son Dalpat married Princess Durgavati, the daughter of Salbahan, the Chandil Rajput Raja of Mehuba. Dalpat, however, died early. Rani Durgavati was very capable and started ruling on behalf of her 5-year-old son. But Narain, under her kingdom, became even more extensive. In 1565, Mughal forces under Asaf Khan attacked Garha Katanga. A strong resistance was put up by Rani Durgavati. She was defeated and preferred to die rather than surrender. Her son too died fighting soon after. Garha Katanga was a rich state. It earned much wealth by trapping and exporting wild elephants to their kingdoms. When the Mughals defeated the Gonds, They captured a huge booty of precious coins and elephants. They annexed part of the kingdom and granted the rest of Chandra Shah and Uncle Binarin. Despite the fall of Gara Katanga, the Gaunt kingdom survived for some time. However, they became much weaker and later struggled unsuccessfully against the stronger Bundels and Marathas. The Ahoms. The Ahoms the Ahoms migrated to the Brahmaputra Valley from present-day Myanmar in the 13th century. They created a new state by suppressing the older political system of Bhujans. During 16th century, they annexed the kingdoms of Chotias and Kochhajo and subjugated many other tribes. The Ahoms built a large state and for this they used firearms as early as 1530s. By 1660s, they could even make quality gunpowder and cannons. However, the Ahoms faced many invasions during southwest. In 1662, the Mughals under Mir Jumla attacked Ahom kingdom. Des- Despite their brave defense, the Ahoms were defeated, but the direct Mughal control over the region could not last long. The Ahoms stayed dependent upon forced labor. Those forced to work for the state are called pikes. A census of the population was taken. Each village had sent a number of pikes to by rotation. People from heavily populated areas were shifted to less populated places. Ahom clans were thus broken up. By the first half of the 17th century, the administration became quite centralized. Almost all adult males served in the army during the war. At other times, they were engaged in building dams, irrigation systems, and other public works. The Ahoms also introduced new methods of rice cultivation. Ahom society was divided into clans or khels. There were very few castes of artisans, so artisans in the Ahom areas come from adjoining kingdoms. A khel often controlled several villages. The peasant was given land to the village community. Even in the king could not take away without the community's consent. Originally, the Ahoms worshipped their own tribal god. During the first half of the 17th century, however, the influence of Brahmins increased. Temples and Brahmanas were granted land by the king. In the reign Sip Singh, Hinduism became the predominant religion. But the Ahom kings did not completely give up their traditional beliefs after adopting Hinduism. Ahom society was very sophisticated. Poets and scholars were given land grants. Theatre was encouraged. Important works of Sanskrit were translated into local language. Historical chronicles known as Buranjis were also written first in the Ahom language and then in Assamese. So let us come to the conclusion. Considerable change took place in subcontinent during the period we have been examining. Varna-based society and tribal people constantly interacted with each other. The interaction caused both kinds of societies to adapt and change. There were many different tribes and they took up diverse livelihoods. Over a period of time, many of them merged with caste-based society. Others, however, rejected both the caste system and Orthodox Hinduism. Some tribes established extensive states with well-organized systems of administration. They thus became politically powerful. This brought them into conflict with larger and complex kingdoms and empires. So I hope you all understood the chapter. And for more information or details, please contact the Bodhi Academy.